Welcome to Biz Dev Live. I got a little bit of a different background with me today. Hang in. We're going to do an interview with Aidan Hand. He's a branch manager for KeyBank and MailPack, and he is somebody that cares a lot about the financial health of your business. We're going to get all into that today right after the Biz Dev theme. Stick with me.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.
So thanks for joining me today. I'm going to get into this in just a moment. We're going to have Aidan Hand come on. We have a little bit of a different tech setup, so if you can't hear Aidan's audio or my audio, please just drop a comment down and I will see that and we'll get into it. So I just briefly want to introduce Aidan. Aidan Hand is a 20-year veteran in banking with a passion for financial wellness and financial literacy. He is also a financial coach and helps to guide his clients in making smarter decisions with their money over the long term, which is great because he gets to actually live his passion through his work as a branch manager with KeyBank. In addition to coaching his clients, Aidan enjoys hosting big parties with live music, including his band Crash, which he sings in, which I thought was really interesting to read, playing poker and motorcycling. He is married to the amazing Stephanie Hand, financial controller and yoga instructor, who also has a passion for wellness, both financial and physical. Thank you for being on the show today with me, Aidan. Say hello to everybody.
Thanks for having me, Cameron.
No, thanks for having me. Folks that are watching, if you can just let me know in the comments if you can definitely hear Aidan, or if you can't hear Aidan, I want to make sure that the audio is coming through because it's the first time I'm casting through StreamYard and Zoom simultaneously. Aidan, let's get into it. So I know I introduced you, but what are you doing? Tell me about MailPack. Tell me about the community banking situation there, and what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, and then we'll get into more of your life.
Sounds good. Yeah. So I'm a branch manager for KeyBank. I manage a fabulous team up here in MailPack, New York. I joined the team about a year ago, and I was a little bit of a fish out of water because I'm a Rocklander. 20 years this past month actually in banking for me, and all 20 of those years up until now were in Rockland. So I had to get used to a new area, a new team, but it's been a great journey. Right now, we are focused on virtual financial wellness guides. The pandemic has forced us to shift strategies where in the past, most of our focus was in person. And now we've realized that we want to bring financial wellness to where the customers are. A lot of folks aren't comfortable coming into the bank anymore, so we bring it to them via Zoom. So having lots of great conversations with folks over Zoom, where I share my screen and go through a financial wellness conversation with them to make sure we're taking good care of their needs.
That's awesome. So tell me about what the bank is doing in particular right now to help small businesses. And just, full disclosure, like you helped me a lot for getting PPP loan set up for Toth Event Staffing, which I was so appreciative of. Thank you for that.
Yes. Thank you so much for bringing that up. That's actually, as I look over my 20 years in banking, one of the things I'm most proud of is with the way we were able to adapt with the situation. The pandemic presented us with unprecedented changes in banking. For the first time ever, we had to lock our lobby doors. Thankfully, we had a drive up where we could still help our clients. But one of the biggest ways we were able to help the community and small businesses in particular was through the Paycheck Protection Program. When it came out, I made it my business to become an expert at this because I knew it was going to be vitally important to help our small businesses survive, especially industries that were most heavily impacted, like yours, like the restaurant industry, like the hospitality industries. The PPP program, although it's over, we are moving into a new phase pretty soon. Many of my clients are going to be applying for forgiveness. And if done the right way, and as long as the money was used for the right purposes, they may be eligible for 100% forgiveness, which essentially in the end is going to mean they won't have to pay those loans back. Another first for me, issuing loans where the money actually might not have to be paid back.
Right. No, I mean, I think it's an amazing program. You can criticize government a lot, but this is one of those things that I think, in terms of, deep impact, like you said, restaurant industry, my event, staffing business has been greatly impacted by it, and I'm so appreciative of the opportunity because it has helped us pivot in very, very challenging times. So I help from somebody like yourself. It's so important. Let's talk a little bit about what you do on the financial coaching side, and then I definitely want to dig into some of the personal highlights that you sent me. You lead a very interesting life from big ass fish tanks to motorcycles and cars. Definitely want to get into that. But tell me about some of the financial coaching, and hopefully we'll have some questions from folks watching on how they can do stuff. I'll talk a little bit about my financial situation so we can see a little bit of your financial coaching at work. But definitely want to give folks the resource there in terms of how you help guide people to make smarter decisions.
Sure, yeah. Financial coaching is one of the biggest parts of what I do. Not only do I do it in my private life, but I'm also able to integrate it with their heads. You'd be surprised how few people are really prepared for retirement. That's one big reason why I focus on this. Another big reason is a program called Smart Dollar, which was actually introduced by a former employer of mine when I used to work at a previous bank. They rolled this out, which was an effort to spread financial wellness to all of the employees of the corporation. I really dove into it head first, and it was a program offered by Dave Ramsey. I became a fan of Dave Ramsey. I started listening to his podcast, listening to his show, and adopting some of the steps that he taught, and which is a lot to do with just basic common sense financial wellness and making smart decisions. So I incorporate a lot of those philosophies into what I do, and the good news is when I considered joining Key Bank, one of the big decisions that the big factors that led to that decision was the passion that Key Bank has for financial wellness.
All right, so we lost audio for a second, but it's back. Thanks, Stephanie. Your wife is keeping me up to date with what's going on technologically. So I think I muted myself, and that muted everything just with this setup. So I think we caught most of what you were saying, which is really good. Percentage-wise, the difficulty with people not planning for the future. I can definitely put myself in that. I've tried to rectify that situation with my children in terms of making sure that my daughter understands, like I feel like I should have, that, when I started working very early on, 50% of my income or more should have been in savings right from the start. And that kind of financial leverage gives you the ability to really choose your own adventure. You get to decide what's next versus, oh man, I got to figure out this financial puzzle in order to make life work.
I think what it gives you more than anything else is a little bit of peace of mind.
Right.
And the knowledge that
security.
If the roof goes, if the transmission in your car goes, if the boiler craps out on you, how much are you going to have to lean on credit cards in order to get through that emergency? If you have 3 to 6 months of household expenses set aside in an emergency fund, the peace of mind that it can give you and not having to rely on debt is priceless in many cases.
So for folks that don't have that 3 to 6 month emergency fund, which I'm guessing is what you would recommend, having somewhere between 3 months and 6 months of monthly expenses on hand, is that right?
Yes, yes. And it depends on, as far as what is it, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. It kind of depends on your personal situation. Maybe a single person who doesn't own a house, maybe they could go more toward the 3 month side. If you're married, kids, own a house, own vehicles, you'd want to kind of start leaning toward the 6 month end of that spectrum.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, because my household is wife, 4 children, and father-in-law living in the house. So definitely appreciate that peace of mind, even because we're definitely not there at that 3 to 6 months of expenses in the bank waiting for us. But even just getting to a point where we had some cash reserves was an incredible peace of mind. So I can't imagine what 3 to 6 months feels like, but I know having, a few $1,000s tucked away, just knowing that we, wouldn't be in a desperate way if the next paycheck doesn't come, or there's an issue, or a thing with the car pops up. So yeah, definitely is a life-changing thing having that there. I just wish that I had started a lot sooner, which is probably where a lot of people are.
And you're not alone. A lot of people are in the same boat. But the good news is it's never too late to change strategies and move in a new direction.
So let's talk about this, because you have some interesting hobbies that I'm sure eat up some cash. So I want to talk about some of the personal stuff that you've got in, but you've also had this financial challenge on the personal side with you and your wife. I think I remember you telling me a story about how you guys organized yourself, saved for wedding and honeymoon and all that jazz, right? So talk to us about that. Yeah.
First of all, I got to give incredible amounts of credit to my wife, who, from a professional standpoint, has advanced leaps and bounds since she kind of re-entered the finance career. She for many years owned a yoga studio, which gave her a lot of personal satisfaction in what she does, and thankfully she's still able to do that. But she did decide to kind of dive back into the finance world, and she's made incredible strides since then. And we got married in December, and I got to tell you, largely because as a married couple, we are on the same page when it comes to our goals and our passions and our intentions around our financial future. It kind of makes us unstoppable, and she's a huge part of that. So thank you so much, Stephanie. So yeah, I mean, that's a big part. That's a big part when I meet couples, or even just a married man or a married woman, and I hear about, I run my checkbook, she runs their checkbook, or I have this secret stash of cash that if she knew about, she'd kill me. It often can lead to bad results. The single biggest factor in fights between married couples is around the topic of money. So getting on the same page is a huge step in the right direction.
No, I've definitely experienced that. And I think one of the things that me and my wife learned early on, because after getting married, we went right to this joint bank account thing, which I think for some people can be a boon. And I've definitely heard like the spouses that talk about, like, my wife gives me an allowance, this is how much I got to spend a week, and they're really on the same page, and there's teamwork happening, and that for us, it wasn't exactly that story. And I remember one of the things that really helped our relationship was like, okay, let's separate these bank accounts. Your money is your money, my money is my money. And it was just a night and day difference in terms of how we were communicating and working with each other. So there's definitely a way to work, and I don't think there's one ideal solution for any couple beyond which is something that I hope we're going to get into, is strategies for actually saving the money for both partners and making sure that the future is both secure and bright.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So why don't we get into that? So let's talk about like what couples need to do. You can share your personal situation, what you guys did. How do you go about, especially I think newlyweds, right? Because it's such a, you got maybe debt and expenses from wedding and challenges that way. How do you save money?
Well, one of the things that Stephanie and I decided to do right from the get-go is that we were not going to lean on debt in order to make our wedding happen. We are blessed with having been able to throw our dream wedding, which, by the way, wasn't crazy extravagant, but it was what we wanted to do. But we were determined that we were going to pay cash, and we would not let that wedding kind of follow us as a ball attached to a chain to our ankles. And we walked away from that wedding proud of the fact that we were able to work hard and put aside the money that we needed. Now, the stuff that I teach around the how is largely based on a couple of concepts. And again, I have to credit a lot Dave Ramsey for many of these concepts. But the single...
And for anyone that doesn't know, Dave Ramsey is on YouTube, big financial coach, kind of success coach kind of guy on YouTube. So you can look him up, DaveRamsey, Dave Ramsey. Yeah.
Yeah. The single most powerful wealth building tool that you or anyone has at their disposal is their income. And the reality is debt steals away from your income month after month after month. Credit card debt, car loans, student loans, you name it. They are taking away from your income and as a result, taking away from building wealth. So the strategy that I often coach folks is to first focus on having a small emergency fund, say $1,000, set aside in an account that will absolutely not be touched unless it's a real emergency. And by the way, is the $1,000 enough? No. But that's actually on purpose. And the reason why it's going to light a fire under your butt to make sure that you take care of the next step, which is getting out of debt. So what I focus on is something called the debt snowball, where we strategize and list your debts smallest to largest and tackle the smallest ones first. Why the smallest ones? Because doing so from a behavioral standpoint, we found is more effective. You get those quick hits, those quick wins, and it pushes you to go forward. Don't worry about interest, just worry about balances, and we go from smallest to largest. Once you get out of debt, then you take that $1,000 and you build it up to that 3 to 6 month emergency fund that we were talking about. This is, of course, a very simplified explanation of some of the stuff that we teach.
Yeah, no, and I love that because I think it's something that's actually helped me as I've tackled credit card bills. Stephanie, by the way, says being on the same page is the most important thing, and I couldn't agree more with that. In my marriage, that if we're not on the same page, then we're not a happy couple. So being on the same page, having that trust and understanding of what the partner is doing is so huge, and having the game plan, right? And I love that, getting those small bills out of the way, because if you're making more payments over the course of a month, even though it might be less money actually going out, especially earlier on, right? As your income is increasing, right? Maybe over time your income increases, but there's more money going out for bills.
Well, that's called lifestyle creep. That's
right.
That's a common issue when people think the answer is to just make more money, and then they realize when they wind up making more money, they wind up spending not only as much as they made more, but even more so. That's the creep. Lifestyle creep.
Yeah. And so, while we're talking about strategies here, right? So, your income hopefully is increasing over time. Your debt is hopefully decreasing over time. But what happens, for that struggling person or couple that, the income is not increasing as fast as they want it to, the debt is not decreasing as fast as they want it to? What do you recommend to sort of get life back on track besides just paying the smallest bill first?
Well, the first thing I like to tell folks is, I put every once in a while, I put a post on Facebook, what I think is a good idea or a strategy. And sometimes you get a little pushback. And by the way, that's normal. And pushback is good because it enables us to learn. But a lot of the pushback I get is, well, you don't know my situation, or if you are understanding, you'd know that it's not easy. And my response to that is, you're 100% right. It is not easy. None of the stuff that I teach or coach to is easy. It's simple, but it's not easy. It's just worth it. So I often have to ask folks to refocus on, think about again, what is it that you want to accomplish? And then hopefully redirect yourself. But the bottom line is it's personalized and it's focused depending on your situation. I don't have a blanket answer that's gonna give you any kind of a magic pill as far as what's going to get you on track. But if you give me the opportunity to chat with you, I will learn about your situation and what your needs are, and I'll help you devise a plan that is going to be catered right to you and what you want to accomplish.
Yeah, I think that goal setting piece of it is really important. Getting that clear in your mind, even doing something like a what do you call it, a vision map or goal page, something like that you can put up on the wall. I know me and my wife, we did that early on, and we hit a lot of the goals, if not all of the goals that we had set in the beginning. So we recently, all right, let's set some new goals, and trying to make sure that we're moving forward and again on that same page. Let's talk about some of the personal stuff you got, and we'll bring it back to finance in a bit. But I want to hear about the big ass fish tanks. I want to hear about the old cars and motorcycles. So let's hit big ass fish tanks first. Talk to me about the fish.
So big ass fish tanks. The funny thing is that the big ass fish tank started off with a tank about literally this big. I went into Brookstone. Everybody remember those?
Yep.
Those stores. You used to be able to get like vibrating pillowcases and foot massagers. And I went in there one day, and there was this little tiny thing called a frogosphere, which was a cube tank with two little tiny frogs in there, the size of about less than a quarter. So long story short is, I had these two little frogs, and I'm like, these frogs would probably be happier in a bigger tank. So I got a 10-gallon tank for them. And I said, you know what? I'll throw a couple fish in there. And you know what? They don't have enough real estate. So we're going to upgrade this to a 35 hexagonal tank. And then I threw a few more fish in there and a bigger frog. And I'm like, you know what? They need more real estate. So from there, we went to a 110-gallon tank, which was 6 feet long. And by the way, that wasn't big enough either. So we upgraded to a 265-gallon, 7-foot-long fish tank, which weighs, by the way, 500 pounds without a drop of water in it. So,
my goodness.
So that's how we, it's funny. It's just like you start off with a little tiny thing like this, and you wind up.
Is that what we would call lifestyle creep?
Yeah, that is a good example of lifestyle creep.
So talk to us about some of the ups and downs of owning a big ass fish tank.
Well, the downs is that sometimes the fish don't get along. They don't see eye to eye. And sometimes these big fish, the rarer and the more exotic they are, the more pricey they can. So
what fish do you have in the tank currently?
Well, I have a Jardini arowana. We have a peacock bass, big, beautiful peacock bass. We have an Indonesian tiger datnoid, which, by the way, we bought him the size of a quarter, and now he's about yay big. We call him baby dat because he's too big. The arowanas are one of the fish that we love. We also have a turtle called Tommy the turtle. He's a soft-shelled turtle. And for the most part, they get along. But every once in a while, you throw a new guy in there, and stuff can go south pretty quick if you're not watching. And you lose your investment.
So I'm assuming you get some enjoyment watching the fish do their thing. I love anything water related. My dream is to have a nice kind of Japanese garden-esque kind of thing going on in the backyard with fountain and flowers and smooth pebbles and that sort of thing. So I imagine it's sort of serene and peaceful to chill out too.
It is. Until you have to do the maintenance, and then it's a little bit of a pain. all good. It's worth it.
All right. All right. So let's get into old cars and motorcycle. I know you sent me a photo. I'm already sharing the screen, so I can't share with the crowd. But beautiful photo of the back of a Pontiac Trans Am Firebird and several motorcycles in the garage there.
Yeah. So as a kid, I was a huge fan of Knight Rider, and
Oh, me too.
My favorite show of all time. So I had to have one of those cars. So I've had a 79 Firebird. I've had an 86 Firebird. I have an 84 Trans Am. That's the one that you see in the garage there.
What was the Knight Rider car exactly?
The Knight Rider car was actually a 1982 Pontiac Trans Am. It was the year they switched from first gen to second gen. So 82 was the first year they went with that sleek new design with the hood.
And then obviously customized with the red flashing back and forth in front and whatnot. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah. So have you updated your car so it talks to you as well, or no, not so much?
I'm working on it. I talk to the car, but it hasn't talked back to me.
So how did you get into the motorcycles?
Yeah, motorcycling is another passion of mine, and by the way, a passion of my wife's too. She rides too, and you know, we love going for rides through the Adirondacks, taking the bikes up to Lake George, even down to Ocean City, Maryland for Bike Week, and we love combining the ability to see the sights and be with our friends and enjoy that as well. So I've been riding since. God, it's got to be since I was 16 years old, and I've been loving it ever since.
So Stephanie, does she? And I know she's watching. Does she ride her own bike, or are you guys ride? Yeah, very cool. Yeah. Very cool.
Got a Yamaha V-Star.
And do you guys do your own maintenance and stuff? Like, how do you work all the? Because I know it's a lot of work maintaining like the car and the motorcycles.
No, the maintenance is one of those skills where I just don't have so much. I can do very, very, very basic stuff. I know how to inflate a tire. I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good with that. But much beyond that, I'm not so great at. So I kind of lean on our pal who's our mechanic, and he takes good care of our stuff.
Stephanie proudly says, yes, I do ride my own bike. So chiming in there. Very cool. So talk to me about some of the adventures that you've had, and maybe we can tie this back into the financial thing, because I imagine traveling in some of those circles, you run into people that are like, oh, wow, you know, finances stuff. Oh, that's really cool. I'm in need of that kind of help.
So say that again. Talk to you about.
Well, so I imagine you're traveling in some different circles. You know, we met in Master Network. So in terms of the networking that way and meeting different people, but I imagine being a part of motorcycle clubs and that kind of thing puts you in some different circles, and you get to meet some different people, and they have, of course, this financial need as well. So I'm wondering if you got some stories around that kind of stuff in terms of helping people out with, you know, their lives and
yeah, that's a great point. You know, one of my favorite phrases is he who walks with the wise becomes wise, but the companion of fools suffer harm. So what I get from that is pay attention to the folks that you spend time with, because you will eventually become like them. So what that means is maybe you know, take some time to think about, you know, what direction you want to go, and you know, anybody who has already kind of moved in that direction, and you know, take advantage of the knowledge and experience that they have. Pick their brain, take them out to lunch, become friends with them. One of the big blessings of my life recently has been actually the way I met you, by joining Master Networks. It's a networking group where I get to meet incredible entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals who help me in my career, and I learn a lot about what their story is, and I've been able to gain a lot of friendships from it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's something, I mean, one of the attractive things about being in Master Networks is, you come in every week and you work on your business. So in terms of like, what you do with individuals and business on the financial advising and coaching through KeyBank and outside, um, what what are some of the types of situations that you've helped people with? I want to just kind of give some sort of uh, backdrop. I know for myself, I'm working with accountants and different folks, and one of the things that's really stuck out as a learning point is I need to be working with people that have kind of done this kind of stuff before. So I'm trying to give that kind of background for you. What
Yeah,
kind of situations have you worked with before, so people can understand, kind of what experience and what kind of um, uh, businesses and folks you've worked with in the past?
I'm glad you brought that up. One of the things that I also have a passion for is helping small business owners. So what I love to do is I kind of dig in to their business, and I get a feel for what their cash flow situation. And by the way, just like people, all businesses are different and have different challenges. And particularly seasonal businesses often have times where cash is flush and times where cash is kind of lacking. Like a seasonal business, for example. So what I do is I examine their cash flow situation, and I help them come up with solutions that work for them. A good example is a small business line of credit. It's not meant to be a crutch. It's meant to get you through the dry times, so that you can enjoy the flush times. So it's a great tool that you can use to get you through cash flow crunches, and then pay it back when the cash is flowing in, and it just kind of evens the playing field. We also do things like commercial mortgages. We do cash management services. On the personal side, I've been doing millions in mortgages because the rates are at historic lows. Just when you thought rates couldn't get lower, they get lower. We're actually in the twos. It's incredible. So I'm doing lots of mortgages. I also help people take advantage of the equity in their home when appropriate. Again, I'm for the most part, I lean against adding more debt to your situation, but I will have a conversation with you to make sure it makes sense. And if it does, I help you figure out ways to leverage things like the equity in your home for that kind of stuff.
Right. You're in the business.
Credit cards.
Yeah, you're in the business of helping people with those financial offerings that can get people through tough times. I think it goes back to, at least from my personal experience, you don't want to necessarily be using, like you say, as a crutch, credit cards and financial gap loans, that kind of thing. But if you're doing things strategically with cash savings, and you want to use something like a loan or credit card in the interim, it can be one of those things that, can make sure you're not denting your cash. You can take advantage of low rates and really add something onto your business. I think right now, the big lesson that I've gotten for Toth Event staffing is, we should have, in the last 9 years, we've really focused on live events and understanding that we're out there with these clients, servicing these clients, and knowing that we could have been offering other things, and things that we could have been selling even in a pandemic. Right now, we're going to offer a meal delivery service as we pivot, but I could have offered that 5 years ago. These are things that, if I had been a little bit more persistence in adding different lines into the business. So I think the lesson there is, don't get comfortable with your business, especially when it's doing well. That's the time to sort of strike out, and something like a business loan can really help you do that in terms of launching something and getting off your plate. But know that, it's not a question of if, it's just a question of when there's going to be some sort of thing that happens, both on the professional and the personal side, and working with somebody like yourself that can, one, make sure that you're prepared financially with savings and investment, but two, with hey, let's get these finances in place so we can invest in this new building, this new vehicle, this new service offering, training, all of those things that will improve your business and hopefully, especially in light of pandemic right now, but really prepare your business for the next major challenge so that you're ready to sell in whatever environment. Okay, live events aren't happening. We're selling meals and we're selling clothing and we're selling training and that sort of thing. And Total Event Staffing really wasn't in position as we went into the pandemic to do that. But I know, hey, I don't know if it's going to be a pandemic or terrorism attacks, and this gets really dark and whatever, but there's going to be something down the line. There's going to be a financial collapse. There's going to be something that happens. And are you prepared with it, with another vein in your business to take care of whatever you can do in the moment? Luann DePrado, by the way, says, hey, Aidan.
Hey, Luann, one of my favorites. She's awesome.
All right. So I want to get us to a place here. If folks are interested in working with you, Aidan, how should they reach out to you? I know I posted your LinkedIn address below, so people can definitely reach out to you there. How can people get a hold of you up at Key Bank in Mayapack?
Yes, thank you so much. They can reach me direct. My direct line to my desk here is 845-208-6040. That's 6040-208-6040. And you can reach me by email at Aidan, AIDAN _hand @keybank.com. Would love to hear from you.
Excellent. Talk to us about the future for you. Who are you trying to connect with? What are you trying to do as you move forward, both in your personal and professional life?
Well, one of the biggest things that my wife and I are looking forward to accomplishing next is to hit our goal with our emergency fund. One of the big things that we did right out of the gate when we got married was we attacked our debt. So in about 6 to 7 months' time, we were able to pay off just below $70,000 in debt, and oh my God, that was a Herculean effort, but it got done, and I can't tell you what it feels like to be free from that. So now we are on step 3, which is building our emergency fund up to a full 6 months of our household expenses. We're about halfway there now. Once that's done, we are going to aggressively attack our mortgage, and we hope to be mortgage free within, Stephanie will probably tell you 3 years. I'm gonna say like 4 to 5 years. We'll have that thing knocked out. So those are the things that, from a financial perspective, we're most excited about accomplishing. For me personally, career-wise, I just want to be great at what I do, and I want to be the most help for my clients I can possibly be. I also want to be a guide and a coach for my team members who work for me here on my fabulous team. I want to be able to guide them and coach them along in their careers, and see where this amazing journey takes me here at Key Bank.
That's awesome. Yeah, Key Bank is, maybe you just want to drop a couple details about Key Bank, and then I'll let you say goodbye to everybody. So I know in the information that you sent me, again, you're up at the Mayapack office, and Key Bank has a 190-year history, tracing its roots to Albany, New York. So a New York founded business, now in Cleveland, Ohio based, but talk to us about some of the things that you can do for folks at Key Bank.
Sure. So, like you mentioned, my office is in Mayapack. I live in Rockland, but what I found, particularly with the pandemic, is geography means a lot less than it used to. I have been able to expand my business to way outside of the geography of my office. So if you're not near Mayapack and if you're not near Rockland, it doesn't mean I can't help you. Very likely I will be able to help you, and we can have a consultation via Zoom. But Key Bank, again, we have over 1,000 branches here, 17,000 plus employees. Like you said, almost a 200-year history. We are largely located in the northeast of the United States, and then out west in the northwest of the United States, as far out west as Alaska. So we have a good, solid presence here in the United States and up here in the northeast. My fabulous team is ready to help, as well as myself. Anything for small business, consumer, mortgage, all of that, anything that you can think of related to banking and personal financial coaching.
And let me say this before I let you say goodbye to everybody. One of the things that I really enjoyed in working with you, which I think is really important when you got somebody that's, helping you on the finance end, Aidan is extremely responsive. Somebody that, when I email or call is picking up the phone or getting back to me pretty quickly on email, which is just something that, if I can speak for small businesses, when we're in a cash crunch, we're in a cash crunch and we need help, and you need help fast and quickly. And especially with all this government stuff, it was crazy trying to figure out PPP stuff. So just having a helping hand that guides you through it and really just is really responsive is what you need. And Aidan definitely did that for me. Thank you for that. I'll let you say goodbye to everybody, and we'll have people connect with you on LinkedIn. I dropped the phone number down into the chat.
Thanks so much. Great to be here. And I'm glad we were able to help with that PPP. It was touch and go there for a while. We're helping tens of thousands of clients, but we got it done, and it was amazing. So thanks so much for having me on the show, and look forward to connecting with you again soon.
Thanks, Aidan. All right, tomorrow we got IT Hero Raoul, another master networks connection that will be talking about IT security, very much in line with keeping your financial assets safe and all that in these tough times. Thanks so much for watching, everybody. See you soon. Aidan, thanks very much.
Have a great night.
Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T. This is business development, not even selling it. This is intelligent. If you watch it, I promise you benefit. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Leadership and motivation, empathy and inspiration. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz Dev Live, weekdays at 11 Eastern Time. Biz D with C, brought to you by Cameron T.